Erie County, Pennsylvania, one of the snowiest places in the United States, one of the hottest when it comes to national politics. It's been said if you can't win Erie County, you can't win Pennsylvania. And if you can't win the Keystone State, you're probably not going to win the keys to the White House. Just knowing a little about Erie County voters means you know a lot about that election.
I'm Dr. Joe Morris, political analyst and professor, and I'm talking to people from every walk of life in Erie County, Pennsylvania, a place that some call America's swingiest swing county. Erie County is home to a community college, 4 universities, and the nation's largest medical college. To say that young people are everywhere is a major understatement. They're an important part of the fabric of the community. They help make Northwest Pennsylvania the unique place that it is. But when it comes to U.S. elections, young adults don't have the best reputation. With a turnout rate well below the national average, they've proven to be, well, less than reliable when it comes to showing up to cast a ballot. But just because they are less likely to vote than older Americans doesn't mean they're not thinking about politics, issues, and elections. In this, the first of many conversations, I talk with Sabine, who happens to be one of those young people in Erie County, a voter whose eyes are just now opening to the world around her, a world that includes the 2024 presidential election. And what she's thinking about tells us a lot about that election.
All right.
Okay.
So, hi.
Hey. So I was born in Ithaca, New York, because my parents, they met in Kane, Pennsylvania, and it's this small rural town, and I don't know what had caused them to move to Ithaca. Maybe they're like, we need a change. So they moved to Ithaca, New York, and I was born like 9 months after they were married, and they're like, whoa, we didn't expect to have a kid, but they did. And then another surprise is that they had my twin siblings 15 months later. So they're all alone in this brand new state with 3 kids under the age of 2. And they're like, we have to come back and get help. So my grandparents, on my dad's side, my grandma and my papa, live in Erie, and I think they were born and raised in Erie. So they moved back home in Erie so that they could get help from grandma and papa on my mom and dad's side. And so we've been in the same house ever since, and have lived here with my dad's side of the family here. My brother, the twin brother, had leukemia when he was 5, so I was only, 6, 7 when it was starting, but I remember a lot of time spent, at grandparents' house, or even aunts would come over to the house and watch us because, my brother and my parents had to go to Pittsburgh every so often, had to stay at Pittsburgh for a time. Sometimes we had to go along when we weren't in school to Pittsburgh. So he only had it, I think 4 years, he had it and then was cleared of it, and he's in remission and he's fine now. But that was a long time where there was just a lot of shifting going on, with who's watching us, we're going to school, what's happening. And in the midst of it, that was when our little brother was born, was right in the middle of, Caleb had a break in chemo. And so my little brother was born, and so it was really hectic. I just remember a lot of stress, a lot of hectic times. Life is good. I like life. I feel at a point, with the classes I'm in and with just being ready to graduate and ready to move, into a working position or something furthering my education. I feel like this is, I don't know how to say it. I was just talking to some friends, and it just feels like there's a lot of reconstruction or even construction going on in my mind where I'm deciding who I am, what do I do, what do I like. I'm in classes like ethics and the government class and Catholicism, and all of those classes, I was telling my friend, I was like, they feel fake. There's no answers. It's always ongoing. It's always something that you're building in your mind. It's always something that is at the present forefront for everyone. This affects everyone. And it's just a lot of, me deciding who I'm going to be, and I don't know, you're just trying to figure out who you are. And Erie was once a booming place. It kind of went through a little period of no, now we don't have, all those buildings on 12th Street that are just empty. We don't have that business anymore. And now there's this sense of trying to revitalize Erie, even just watching the shirts that say it's okay to love Erie. like people are trying to say you can live in Erie and you can like it. We're trying to grow it again. I can't wrap my mind around how like this place that I live in could have one of the poorest zip codes that exist. And I've been privileged enough to never, have seen that struggle and, be immersed in that. Like it's crazy how you can go from people who are living by the lake, with a lot of wealth and a lot of influence to the poorest zip code in the United States, all in this one area. That to me is probably one of the things that, where is this disparity coming from, and how can we, I don't know, help these people that are living in this area, and what causes it, there's just probably so much that goes into behind it, but it's something that I think about. There's people who cannot go to the doctor because they cannot afford it. Like, that just baffled my mind, that it just seems like a human right to be taken care of, medically. So it almost feels like we're depriving, like people who cannot afford health insurance cannot go to the doctor, and their life expectancy decreases, their quality of life decreases because they can't be seen by the doctor. Because it would cost them their entire living to go get an eye appointment for glasses, something like that. So it boggled my mind, and I had someone say, well, yeah, but those people aren't working hard enough. They're not working. That's why they don't have health insurance. And how dare you say that? Like, still, perhaps it's the case for such a small amount of people, but there's so many people who are just caught in a space in society, and it's hard to work your way up. If you're caught somewhere, like in poverty, or, there's just things that are unjust for you, you're stuck there, and you need someone else to help you push out of that space. So by just saying, oh, they don't work hard enough, they don't get health insurance, makes sense. It doesn't make sense. Like, we need to be helping those people because their life, their life quality depends on that. Wouldn't you want that help in that situation? The more that I learn about the country that we're in, the individualism, it seems egocentric, but it's a pull it up by your own bootstraps, pull yourself up. If you're in a good position, you must have worked hard enough to get yourself there. If you're in a bad position, you're not working hard enough, man, sorry. And it's so tiring because that's not the case I would say, for hardly anyone. There's a lot of people in higher positions that have done no work to get there. That's just the situation that they've been put in, and the privilege that they have. And so I think it is our job to at least take care of the basic needs of people who don't have what they need to be a human being. So, and it's frustrating. I just don't think we don't recognize that there's so many people in our lives that are helping us. We're not doing it ourselves. We're not pulling ourselves up by our bootstraps. Even here in college, I didn't get myself here. I had family that helped me. I had my mom that, helped me understand everything that was going on with the application process. And I had teachers help me, and I had people, helping me to get the supplies I needed to get here. And so it wasn't me and my own incentive I did it. I got myself through college. I can do this. And that applies to everything in life, that you're never doing something by yourself. So why we should just continue that attitude of, it's a community that's helping me, and be a community, even as a nation, be a community to help the people that aren't making it, that aren't having what they need just to be human beings that are safe and comfortable.
By no means does Sabine represent all young voters in Erie County. No single person can do that. Instead, she simply highlights some of the challenges facing the region, challenges that every resident is well aware of. Erie County is home to one of the poorest zip codes in the nation, a zip code where 64% of the population is living in poverty, including 41% of its children. Even outside of that zip code, about 15% of residents live below the poverty line. In a county of 267,000 people, that's 40,000 residents in poverty. It's no wonder Sabine worries about the ability of her neighbors to acquire health insurance to cover basic trips to the doctor, trips that are essential for health and well-being. As we move closer to the 2024 presidential election, Erie County voters like Sabine are thinking about these issues and hoping that candidates are doing the same. I'm Dr. Joe Morris. I'll see you next time to talk more about that election.